Coming up on Outlook, growing South Central Kentucky's cultural footprint. One program at a time, one book at a time. Coming up on the show, we're going to find out more about SKyPAC, Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center's opening weekend and what's ahead. And later in the show, the annual Rite of Spring. The Southern Kentucky Festival of Books is just around the corner. Stay tuned. Outlook is next. Thanks for joining us. I'm Barbara Deeb, providing an outlet for creative expression and sharing. Well, after years of lobbying, fundraising, planning, the Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center is officially opened. It opened to a capacity crowd last weekend, March 10th in South Central Kentucky, and we're going to find out more about the weekend and what's ahead as we welcome to the program Tom Tomlinson. He is the executive director of SKyPAC, and you've got to be exhausted, but you don't look like it. That's a good thing.
A little bit. But
a little bit.
Great to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. And then Greg Keithley joins us as well, and he is also with SKyPAC, and he is I have you as the executive director. You are the marketing director?
Marketing manager, marketing development.
I knew as director was coming out, it was manager. But you're both affiliated with SKyPAC, and you're both still smiling, which is a good thing because it was a lot going on. So before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's take a look back at how we got to this place. Because this is Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center. It's going to service this area. It's located in downtown Bowling Green, and it's going to become a cultural hub, or it already is. And so how did it come to be?
Well, actually, it's been about 12 years in the making. So from an early appropriation from the state to get architectural studies and land purchases and things like that underway to today took 12 years. And it really began as a group of local individuals, community leaders, political officials, desiring a place for not just culture but economic development, a downtown hub, a place to begin the new TIF district that's part of now downtown Bowling Green. So it really sort of anchors one end with the university here at the other end of this entire redevelopment of downtown.
Well, and it's a multi-million-dollar facility. And when I said it opened on March 10th to a capacity crowd in the performance hall, and we're going to learn more about what's inside SKyPAC for those of you that didn't get there, it can accommodate 1,800 people. And guess what? Every one of those seats was filled. Josh, if you will, let's take a look at some of that footage. And it's on College Street, so if you've seen that area, maybe you've seen this facility, there you have it, the people making their way into the performance on Saturday, March 10th. And it was a performance that was to have been Leanne Rimes. We'll tell you a little more about that. It turned out to be Vince Gill, but that's just one of the great stories that people will be able to tell about the opening weekend of SKyPAC, Southern Kentucky's Performing Arts Center. There you have it, making your way up the stairs. And some of those unique colors and some of the unique structures within that facility, there's method in that madness, and Tom and Greg are going to tell us a little bit about that. But there you are. We just took you inside SKyPAC, and you didn't have to leave your house. Isn't that wonderful? You're seeing some colors, and I don't know how true the television is making these colors, but there's an interesting purple, sort of Merlot color, if you're familiar with wine, and then a turquoise. Now, those colors are based on Corvettes. Is that how that came to be?
Exactly. In 1958 and 1968 vintage Corvettes that the architects fell in love with when they first came to town 10 years ago or so, and went to the Corvette Museum. And so the inside colors of the auditorium are really based on those two colors, and they're gorgeous. I mean, when you tell people what it is, they go, oh, I'm not sure about that. But and in fact, when we had them in our trailer, our offices before we opened, we'd show them to people and they go, oh, I'm not sure that's going to work. But it actually is incredibly beautiful. And then the lobby is actually based on the state flower and the state tree, goldenrod and the tulip poplar. So, and again, when people saw those colors initially, they said, oh, I'm not so sure about this, but it's incredibly beautiful.
It is a lovely facility. And then now looking at the exterior that we showed you, you've got stonework there that is native to Kentucky also?
It is. We had the stone was actually brought in, but it's very close proximity to Kentucky. I think it did come from Indiana, if I'm not mistaken.
Southern Indiana.
Southern Indiana, but really trying to do as much as we can to utilize the resources of Kentucky.
So let's talk a little bit about a performing arts center. We talk about it being a cultural hub. You're the marketing director. You have a big job ahead of you. You know, even with programming, how do you market a facility like this, or does it market itself?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. There's some pent-up demand in the marketplace, certainly, but we've got to go out and tell the people in the community what we're bringing to the community. We've got to bring the programming that people want to see, not just what we think is right. It's got to be what the people want to see. So it is building a brand so people understand what the brand stands for, Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center. And then it's creating awareness around the shows that we're bringing in and doing specific promotions against those shows.
Well, let's talk about some of those shows. Let's first talk about opening night. As I said, you're going to have a fabulous story to tell about the origins and day one, because LeAnn Rimes had been scheduled. She was the headliner. Everything was set to go. And at the last minute, she got the flu.
She did. She did.
Friday night.
We learned Friday night, about 7:30 Friday night, and we moved very quickly to find a replacement. We knew we needed someone of her stature or greater that the community would respond to with the same kind of fervor, if you will, that they responded to her. We were sold out going into opening night, or going into that 7:30 phone call on Friday. And so how we were going to exactly respond to that was the biggest and quickest question.
Challenge.
It was a challenge, but we have a great staff. Programming director Jan Czar and I and others, we were all there at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, burning up the telephone lines, getting people out of bed, finding folks. It was a Saturday, so agencies and managers were not in their offices. So finding people, finding friends of people, and friends of friends and friends to find people. But we finally were successful in locating, identifying Vince Gill as a perfect replacement, and then finding him and finding his manager. And interestingly, we pretty much had him secured by around noon, but his wife, Amy Grant, was on an airplane, and it was their anniversary and their daughter's birthday that evening. So he didn't want to commit until she said it was okay. So she got off the plane. He called her the second she landed in Nashville at about 1 o'clock, and he called us and said, okay, I'm there.
Wow. Wow. Now, the orchestra was set to perform on opening night. And so did they have an opportunity to rehearse and practice?
We had to change the program. We kept the first part of the program the same with the orchestra and a chorus that we'd assembled, 150 voice choir at the beginning of the program. And then he performed an acoustic set in the second half of the program. So we originally had LeAnn performing with orchestra. We couldn't do that because there wasn't the ability or the time, really, at that point to get music and charts and all of that to the orchestra that he could perform with, and opportunity for him to rehearse with them, because he couldn't get to the building until about 5:30 in the afternoon. So it was a quick turnaround, but our staff went out to a furniture store and made the front of the stage look like a little living room and created a very intimate atmosphere for him. And it was exciting, and it was interesting, and I actually could have sat and listened to him talk and tell stories and play for 2 more hours that night.
Vince Gill came through, and we've got some footage of Vince Gill, which we'll show you in the second segment. So these kinds of things are things that happen. I mean, they happen on television programs where you have a guest scheduled, and at the last minute they get sick, or they can't make it, or they get held up. So this is the beauty of programming, and when you're programming a facility like SKyPAC, the Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center, always good to have a plan B?
It is, absolutely. You've got, the show must go on, especially on opening night. We had no doubts that we would come through, facing adversity, and then stepping up and getting Vince Gill to come in and be the act for opening night was just a tremendous credit to the whole team that we have assembled at SKyPAC, and the community resources that we were able to call upon. We were lucky, we're close to Nashville, but it was a great opportunity to succeed.
We're going to talk more about SKyPAC, the Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center, and Community Day, which is coming up, that you can attend. All that and more when Outlook continues right after this. Stay with us. A place for everyone as SKyPAC opens its doors. Southern Kentucky's Performing Arts Center is now a reality in downtown Bowling Green, a cultural hub, a place for performances, a place to go and enjoy art, or so they say. Let's find out more about it as Tom Tomlinson rejoins us. He's the executive director of SKyPAC, and through the magic of television, Suzie McHugh has joined us as well. We brought her in. She is the Community Day Committee chairperson. She's going to tell us more about that. Thanks for being here. We are also rejoined by the marketing director, Greg Keithley, whose name is spelled differently than it's pronounced. We just had this conversation.
We did have that conversation.
But we're talking about SKyPAC, and let's get into Community Day, because if you're watching this program on this Sunday, you still have time. You're probably thinking, what are we going to do today? This is a wonderful opportunity, and it's not just the people in Bowling Green who can use this. We talk about a cultural hub. We want people from all parts to come and enjoy. So Suzie, tell us what's planned for that.
Well, that's absolutely one of the reasons that we're having Free Community Day. We really want to have people from all areas of Southern Kentucky come and see this beautiful facility that is for them to come and enjoy, see performances, and this particular event is going to be so wonderful because we have such a variety of local talent performing all day long. The event starts at 1 o'clock, it runs till 5 o'clock, and we have dance troupes, singing groups, duos. We have sidewalk art for children, mask making, and it's an opportunity for those who were not able to get tickets for the opening weekend to come and see what this theater actually looks like inside, show it to their families, show it to their friends, and just enjoy a free day of the performing arts.
So that's today from 1 to 5 at the Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center. There's parking in the downtown area. It's supposed to be beautiful weather.
84.
Yeah, so I mean, a wonderful day to come out. Now, you bring up a good point, because this is free, people can come and enjoy. What about the accessibility to the arts? You know, for those who may not have been able to afford a ticket for opening night, will there be lots of programming for everyone?
We have a very large and ambitious education program. So in addition to programs like the one Suzie just talked about, which is open to the public and free, and not just the performing arts, but visual arts as well, we have an education program that will take artists out to the schools, that will bring kids into the Performing Arts Center for free or reduced price programs. We have inexpensive tickets for most of our shows, so we really have done everything we can to make this as accessible as we possibly can economically, and of course it's accessible physically for anyone. So it's a community-based facility, really a place for everybody.
You know, we talked about opening night, you know, and having to make that switch, and then the programs. How do you program for just such a diverse audience? As you know, if you're in Bowling Green or the contiguous counties, there's a lot of diversity there. How do you decide what shows to bring in? How's that work?
Well, it's a complex process. I mean, not only, as Greg was saying, do we look at what the community wants to see, but we also, as arts administrators or as artists, look at it as a responsibility, as curators, that we have a responsibility to bring things into the community that couldn't come here otherwise, and that might actually expand someone's vision a little bit. So even our Broadway series has some new shows on it next year that are just now touring. We have a variety of musical programming, of classic work, a little bit of everything, so that people can have an opportunity to enjoy not just things that they're used to, but in fact things that might stretch them a little bit.
Step outside that box. Suzie, your husband, Rick McHugh, was instrumental in making this a reality. He was
Yes.
there, you know, through this whole process. And so for you, it's a delight to look and see that this is here. To those who say, I'm not sure, what would you say to them?
On Saturday night, I kept having to try to bring myself into reality, and it just felt like a dream to sit in that incredible facility and remind myself that I'm in Bowling Green, where so many people have come together to make this project work. My husband was one who stayed the course. We were laughing earlier today at that. He made it, and I'm going to help make it keep going. So we just think it's an absolutely incredible addition to this community. Can-do spirit is what has always characterized Bowling Green to us, and we're just so proud to be a part of that and so proud to make this our home.
Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center. Now, people think that taxpayer dollars are helping to sustain the facility. Help us understand some of that.
Well, there are no taxpayer dollars involved in either its construction or in its operation on a day-to-day basis. The operation is funded about 3/4 from ticket sales and concessions and bar revenue and all of the other things that go in on a daily basis where we earn money, and then the remainder, about 1/4, we raise in the community from individuals. So just like a hospital or any other major nonprofit, we have a certain percentage that we have to raise from private individuals or businesses or corporations. Greg is very involved in our corporate sponsorship. So there are a variety of ways for people to participate, not just on the stage or not just in the audience, but financially. But there are no taxpayer dollars used to support it other than a grant that we might get from the National Endowment for the Arts or something like that.
Now, get out there, enjoy the facility, you would say?
Absolutely. It's outstanding and will thrill you to come in and experience SKyPAC. We open Monday the 19th with our first Broadway show of Damn Yankees. It's going to be a great performance. We'll follow that up with Sesame Street on the 27th, and then on 30th you'll see Sam Bush in the hall. A lot of people may have seen
Bowling Green Boy, you bet.
Bowling Green Boy. A lot of people may have seen Sam Bush, but they haven't seen him at SKyPAC. And I think that shows the diversity and the things we're bringing to the market that people want to see that can really entertain the community.
There you go. And Suzie, leave us again with the details on today if you want to come out and enjoy SKyPAC.
1 to 5. There'll be food you can purchase. You'll be able to see the visual arts. You'll be able to see performances all during that time period. You can come and stay the whole time. You can come and stay for an hour. But we want you to come, and it is free and open to the public.
Just come on down is what
Yes.
she's saying. It's the Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center in downtown Bowling Green, a free event from 1 to 5 today. And you know, just around the corner, it's the Southern Kentucky Festival of Books. When Outlook continues, we're going to find out more about that April event, which is just coming up. But we're going to leave you with some sights and sounds of the Southern Kentucky Performing Arts Center's opening weekend. There you go. Look inside.
This old guitar and me, and the things that we've been through. C.F. Martin built it back in 1942. Well, I remember when we met, I was only 17. I spent all my college money on a half a dozen strings. Well, I thought
Calling all readers or lovers of books, that's right, the SOKY Book Fest is just around the corner, coming your way the weekend of April 20th. We're going to tell you more about that as we welcome to the program Christy Lowry and Stephanie Wichowski. And Christy, of course, is with the Literary Outreach through WKU, and Stephanie Wichowski is with the Warren County Public Library's you're a children's librarian.
Yes, I am.
And I love that pin that you have on. We may not be able to see it, but it says, every child's story starts at their
your
library. That's right. You know, there is nothing like reading to a child or having a child read to you or being there when a child reads its first word. It's just an amazing process. And so the SOKY Book Fest is an opportunity for children to come out, adults as well, and to meet the people who wrote these books. That's so amazing. So you are there in the trenches, Christy, and you are helping to put this together. So it's a lot of planning, probably takes a year. Yes. Who do we have as some of the headliners this year?
This year, our SOKY Book Fest Day headliner is Carl Hyacin. He's probably best known for his Newbery Honor winning book, Hoot. And then on Children's Day, we have Patricia Riley Giff coming. She has 2 Newbery Honor winning books as well as many others. She wrote Pictures of Holliswood and Lily's Crossing. I know all of the elementary school librarians in town are very excited that she'll be coming. So.
Now, you say in town, but it's the SOKY Book Fest, and it's open to anybody who wants to step foot in that door. And the door they'll be stepping foot in is the Carol Nicely Center, which is located on the south campus of Western Kentucky University, and it's off of Nashville Road. And we're going to put up a number at the end of the show if you want to get more information. But why is it important for someone who's never been to a book festival to attend one? You know, Stephanie, you deal with children all the time with reading and literacy.
Well, as part of the SOKY Kentucky Book Fest, we are doing a Children's Day as we've done in the past, and that day is set aside with special activities geared towards the school-age children in kindergarten through 12th grade. And any of the teachers can call us from any of the local schools here in the Warren County area and, you know, make an appointment or a reservation to come that day and bring field trips of kids. There's lots of great authors they can meet. As Christy mentioned, you know, Patricia Riley Giff. Another main headlining author is going to be Marsha Thornton Jones and Deborah Dady, who are co-authors of the Bailey School Kids series.
Oh, very popular.
And, you know, there's going to be some other picture book authors there, illustrators like Tammy Lyon, who has illustrated some of the Eloise books and has a new book out called Olive and the Snowflake. And it's just going to be a really exciting opportunity. There's children's crafts that they can do in kind of a make and take type scenario.
And there are going to be creatures and people and characters there. And I'm getting at specifically, if you're a PBS fan, Word Girl is going to be there. And then are we having any other characters?
I've also heard that some of the fruit from Fruit of the Loom, the gentlemen
Some of the fruit
that do the fruit are going to be there.
That's always fun to see. And then there are ticketed events. And in particular, on Children's Day, there's a ticketed event. You can have tea with Eloise. What's that all about?
It's actually going to be hosted on the Saturday, which is the day that's actually, I mean, it's open to, the whole process is open to everyone, but the the Saturday event is the tea with Eloise, and it's going to be lots of fun. It just costs $5 per person to get in, and they get to come and have tea and cookies, and they get to hear some Eloise stories. We're going to make special hat crafts. It's just going to be lots of fun.
It
We're
is lots
really
of fun.
excited about it.
And again, we'll put up a number at the end where you can get more information. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. And now, Christy, Carl Hiaasen is a big name. A lot of people are going to come out to see him. How, you say this takes like a year's worth of planning. Yes. How does it fall? Does it just so happen that maybe you go after a particular author and guess what? They happen to be free that weekend? How does that work?
Actually, today I started sending out emails for 2013, so it starts that early for the headliners, and people stop me in the community and say, hey, you know who I'd like to see? And I try to listen, and I try to get who people are wanting to come and see. So it starts in beyond the headliners, it starts in June and July, the invitation process. So
who are you looking at for 2013?
I'm not going to tell.
I knew that was coming. But for 2012, you got quite a few. So we've got Carl Hiaasen. Give us some of the other headliners that are going to be
Heather Graham, who's a New York Times best-selling author, she will have her new book, The Unseen, which is coming out just before Book Fest. So she's on her book tour. Rachel Hawkins, who is a YA author, she wrote the Hex Hall series, and the third in her series is coming out just before Book Fest. I appreciate when authors time it like that.
Yes,
for me.
they do. She's a young adult. She's a very popular young adult author.
So, and of course Silas House, and everybody loves Silas House.
Everyone loves Silas House, a Kentucky Appalachian young author, yes.
And then we have Lee Martin, who was a Pulitzer Prize nominee, and I just finished one of his books, the one that was nominated for the Pulitzer, and it's awesome, The Bright Forever. So he will be there as well. We have poets, we have short story writers, we have every genre you can think of.
And for all ages. And so it's the SOKY Book Fest. It's coming up the weekend of April 20th and April 20th and 21st. And so leave us with some words of wisdom. Come on down if you haven't ever experienced that.
And if you have, because you need to meet, authors are my rock stars, so I think everybody should come out and see who's behind the books that they're reading.
That's a good point for all ages, children especially, right, Stephanie?
Yes, I mean, as we've said, you know, every child's story, it can start at your library, it can start anywhere, it can start at home. There's lots of, you know, exciting authors to meet in person that may be some of your favorite books you read over and over.
There you go. It's the SOKY Book Fest, and we're going to put up information on how you can get more information. It's going to be held at the Carol Nicely Center in Bowling Green the weekend of April 20th. Thanks to you, Stephanie and Christy, and continued success. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Outlook. Until next time, I'm Barbara Deeb. Thanks for being here.